Well, this is what leads this morning. A judgment is expected in the murder case against a former police constable, Nomia Ndlovu, within the hour. She's accused of masterminding the murders of her boyfriend and her relatives in order to claim insurance policies. Ndlovu is also accused of plotting the murder of her mother, sister and sister's children. These crimes date back to between 2012 and 2018. Over the past few weeks, the country has been gripped by the testimony and Ndlovu's behavior in the High Court in Johannesburg. Well, we'll cross live to that judgment later on in the bulletin. But of course, reporter Silindelo Masikane is standing by outside the courthouse in Johannesburg with the latest on the case. Let's cross to her now for an update. Silindelo, a good morning to you. Thank you so much for speaking to us. So what are we seeing taking place inside the courthouse at the moment?
Well, we're all waiting in anticipation for the judgment that's expected today, where Nomia Ndlovu will find out whether the Palm Ridge High Court is going to find her guilty or not guilty on the charges that she faces. She is, of course, accused of being the mastermind behind the deaths of several of her family members as well as her lover. And, of course, this matter, or this trial rather, began around June this year, and we've heard several testimonies from a number of witnesses, over 50 witnesses actually, that were brought in by the state in order to try and prove their case. She's accused of insurance fraud and planning the murders around her family members to cash out on those life insurance policies. It's alleged that she has claimed around 1.4 million rand in these insurance claimed policies. As you can see behind me, the courtroom is abuzz. Media houses are setting up. We're really expecting Nomia Ndlovu to make her way inside the courtroom at any moment now. She hasn't arrived. Her lawyer as well hasn't arrived, but we are just setting up and waiting for Judge Ramurumo Monama to deliver his judgment any moment now.
Yeah, it certainly is a judgment that the country is looking forward to hearing how this ends up, because we've been keeping a close eye on her demeanor and behavior inside the court. Perhaps let's take a few steps back and talk about some of those highlights, right? When she first appeared in court and how that demeanor changed throughout those court proceedings.
Certainly so. The country has been quite gripped with her demeanor, her character, and the way she's been presenting herself in court. The first couple of appearances, she may have been, stunned, I think, by the cameras, engaging with journalists, very chatty. But as the trial progressed and the state was, putting forth the evidence it has against her, it seemed as though that her demeanor started to change. She became a little more quieter, a little bit more subdued, not looking at the cameras anymore, looking down, looking a bit sad at times. And so I think it's going to be quite interesting today to see exactly how she's going to appear and whether she's ready for the judgment today as well.
Yeah, I think just quickly behind you there, I think we just saw her walk in, so I imagine that proceedings will kick off quickly. But just quickly, before I let you go, Silindelo, a quick wrap of the charges that she is facing, because it is quite a list.
Yeah, she's facing several murder charges. As you can see, she has walked into the courtroom. She's also accused of attempting to murder her sister as well as her 5 children. And you can see today she's seemingly a little bit more subdued as well. And any moment now we will expect the judge to walk in to deliver his judgment. It's going to be quite interesting to see how the judge feels about the evidence that's been brought forward, because it has been conceded that a lot of the evidence is circumstantial, but the state saying that, everything is too much of a coincidence for her not to be found guilty. That was some of the arguments put forward in the closing arguments last week, saying that Nomia Ndlovu seemingly seemed to be always close to the scene or nearby whenever one of her loved ones was found to be dead, and that there was a pattern in which they had illustrated in how she first files for the insurance claims and then claims them. The number of days just is seemingly very similar. So the state prosecutor last week in her closing arguments saying that the state had actually proven its case beyond a reasonable doubt and that she should be found guilty on all the charges.
All right, Silindelo, thank you so much for that update. We certainly will be crossing live to the court as soon as the judge walks in and we are able to bring you the handing down of that judgment.